Jonathan Schober here, Director of Customer Success for Clairvoyant Networks and Theora Care. I'm going to show you how to use the Theora Link Pro application, how to set up the watch for the first time and use the major features in the application. So if you haven't done so already, go ahead and just install Theora Link Pro. You can find that in either the Google Play or the Apple Play stores. So when you first launch the application, after you've set up your account, it's going to be taken to the Add a Device screen, and then your watch should have a QR code displayed on the face of the watch. And we're just going to go ahead and say Scan QR Code. And just kind of turn the display on. That will scan the QR code. Should happen very, very quickly. So what do you call the person who will be wearing this? I'm going to call this Dad. What is their full name? I'll say John Smith. And I am his son. And the number that I want him to call if the SOS button is pressed is going to be, I'll go ahead and put our support number, 1512-371-6164. And then I'm going to go ahead and register the device. It'll come up with a map. If there's any other devices that you have, it'll show you where those devices are. You can go ahead and go to the main menu in the tapping on those three bars in the upper left-hand screen, and now you can tap on Dad, and you'll see the device status for Dad. So here's the major dashboard type features of it. So the first tells us what the battery percentage is, what the cell signal is, how many steps there have been, and how many falls that possibly Dad has had today. Now that is an optional subscription service, so if you don't have the subscription service, you'll have the opportunity to purchase smart fall detection. Up kind of towards the middle of the screen where it says online, that's just telling us that the device is talking to the cellular network and it's talking to our back end. Scrolling down a little bit, tells us that the last location was 30 seconds ago. By default, when you get the watch, it's going to update its location every 60 minutes. So this is telling us, obviously, we just set this up, so it just did a location about a few seconds ago. The ping is sort of a small amount of data that, again, is just connecting to our servers to make sure that we have a communication channel open on that device. Continuing on, scrolling down, here's the three kind of primary features of it. So the first one that I want to go through is the live location. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on live location. And what this is going to do is this is going to give me a full screen image of the map, and then I can kind of move it around. I can zoom out or zoom in. I can tap on the little green satellite view and toggle between satellite and map view. And this is going to override the once every 60 minutes. This is going to begin updating the location every 3 minutes. So this gives me kind of near real-time information of where that device is if I need to track them. And I can see very quickly that location was 25 seconds ago. The next update location is within 3 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and press the back button in the upper left-hand corner. And the next thing I want to do, and I'm going to do this in order here, I'm going to actually do call device first. So if I tap on the call device, that's going to give me the option to call the watch from my phone. And when I do that, I'm going to hit cancel for the demonstration here. But when I do that, the phone will ring, and then the person can answer the phone. Now, the next one I want to do, the second test, is for our Quick Connect service. So when I tap on Quick Connect, it's actually going to send a command to the watch, and that command is going to tell the watch to automatically answer. And then I will have the opportunity to call the watch. Now, when I do it using the Quick Connect, I'll call the watch and the watch will automatically answer. So there will be no ringing. The wearer doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to press any buttons to answer. So again, Quick Connect is an automatic answer. Call device is the watch will ring and then you can answer it. Sometimes if the watch is lost, you can use the call device to call it and find it in your house or something. That's a useful thing. And the reason we ask you to test call device first and then Quick Connect is when you enable Quick Connect, it stays enabled for 30 minutes. And so if you do Quick Connect first and then call device, it's actually going to automatically answer. So for testing purposes, do the call device first and then do Quick Connect. This will give us, continuing scrolling down, this will give us the latest notifications. In this case, if I have left any safe zones or the watch has come on or off the charger during the day. So there it says it came off the charger at 10:05 p.m. The next feature down at the bottom is our care team. So if we have other members of the team that you want to add, that they can access the application, they can track the watch, they can call the watch, you're just going to simply invite a team member, and again, it will have you fill in that person's name. So this may be a son or daughter or another family member or professional care member that you want to give access to the application. By going through this process, it's going to send them an email. It will give them a link to install the application. Then it will go ahead and set up all of the login information so that they can join your care team. Going into history, we can look at all the notifications that have happened with that watch. Whether it's connected to the Wi-Fi network or the battery has recharged or on or off the charger or entering and exiting the safe zone. So this gives us really just sort of a historical look at all of the notifications that have come through on that device. Location history. This is going to give us the breadcrumbs of everywhere that watch has been, during the day and previously. So in this case, I've been, this watch has been at the house, so I've got a bunch of dots all clustered around one location, but you can actually kind of see that I'm stepping through some of these devices. I can click on this time area, and I can look at a specific time setting and see where he's been on that time setting. Over to the right, I can click on the calendar view. I can look at a specific day and look at all the locations. Again, by default, that's going to be every 60 minutes is how often it's going to update its location, and you'll get that historical view of where that watch has been during the day. Continuing on, in the bottom right, we've got our settings. So I'll tap on the settings. We'll get to the buttons, but here we can see what the device info is. We can see how frequently the location updates are being made, what the number is that it's going to call if the SOS button is pressed. Basically, this is all the information that our tech support team may need if you do ever need to call our support group. We can go into the wearer details. This is where you can change the name, you can add a photo, basically personalize the display of that unit. Safe zones, this is where you're going to create different safe zones. So if this is a device that you need to proactively track, when someone has entered or left a location, those things are called safe zones. And so this is where you create them. So we'll just go ahead and create a safe zone. Now, automatically, it's going to center the map on where you are with your phone. It's going to use that as a location. So if you are in kind of the primary location, that's probably going to center it right on your house. And so you don't need to tap in an address because it's using your phone's location to determine that. So I'll go ahead and say next, and you can make that that radius, anywhere from 300 feet to 10 miles in size. Most people leave it at the 300 feet mark. And I'm going to go ahead and name this home, and I'll save that. There we go, we'll save that. So that gave me my home address. Now, if you're not at the location that you're wanting to create a safe zone and you want to manually enter one, we'll go ahead and go to Create Safe Zone. Again, it's going to center in to where you are, and I'm just going to pick a, let's see, I'll just pick a address here, 10800 Catskill. Yeah, well, there we go. We'll just say that's in New York. Yeah, there we go. And it will pre-populate that address. And it's going to take my map to that location, display that, and then I would follow the same process. So I'd go to next, and then I'll just name this Catskill and save it. And now I have two safe zone locations. One I entered the address manually. The other one, it used my phone's location to determine that location. Going back to our settings in the upper left-hand corner, the arrow, we're now going to go around to device settings. So this is where we can change. Again, by default, it is set to every hour. Most people will leave it that unless you have safe zones. When you have safe zones, most people will put that to every 15 minutes for the safe zones. We do this to conserve battery, so the more frequently that the watch updates the location, the greater the impact that has on the battery life. There are some settings on the watch that we can turn off or on through the application. So the first is our shake to wake feature. So what this does is when you twist your wrist, the watch will display. So by default, you have to press one of the buttons on the watch to get the LCD to turn on. And when you enable shake to wake, it turns that on automatically. Now again, we have that off by default because by turning that LCD screen kind of on every time your wrist moves, that has an impact on battery life. So we have that turned off by default. Some of our users, though, that is very frustrating to them. They don't like to have to press the button to turn the watch on, so we can turn shake to wake on for them, and then that way it operates more like a watch. They just sort of twist their wrist and the display turns on. The second feature is our lockdown mode. So on the watch, there are some applications that can be used. There's a weather application and a step counter. And there's also, you can get into the settings on the watch itself. Again, with some of our users, that's a very kind of frustrating situation. They don't want to get into the different applications on the watch. And so what we can do is we can lock that watch down to where it's just a watch. The watch displays. Now, if they press the SOS button, that will continue to call the emergency contact. If they have fall detection, the fall detection will continue to work. But the other applications on the watch, those will be kind of locked down and hidden so that they can't get into them, and again, potentially cause some frustration for that. The last part on this page is the number that you want the watch to call when the SOS button is pressed. So let's say that you needed to change this. So I'll just change it, and I'm just going to make up a number 555-1234, and then always hit your save device settings to save that. And then finally, we can connect to the Wi-Fi network. Now this is really used in places where we need a very small safe zone. So if 300 feet is too large of a safe zone, you need it smaller, we can connect to your Wi-Fi network. What that allows us to do is it allows us to create a safe zone that's basically the size of your Wi-Fi network. So typically, the size of your house, potentially maybe, maybe a house or two away is when you would exit out of the safe zone. The other thing that allows us to do is for that safe zone, instead of having a, minimum 15-minute update location, we can use the Wi-Fi to immediately detect a loss, and we can trigger. So as soon as they exit out of the Wi-Fi area, that will trigger an exit or an entrance alert. So you can tap on the Wi-Fi network and join a Wi-Fi network, and you do have to have the Wi-Fi SSID and the password to connect that network, that Wi-Fi network, and associate it to a safe zone. So those are the major features of the application. If you do have any questions and you need support, you can contact us. Our support team is available at 512-371-6164, or you can email us at support@theoracare.com.